new reaction to President Biden's urgent message about the Russia-Ukraine crisis and his promise that the United States will be ready no matter what happens. We're joined by a key member of the House Intelligence Committee, Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. How do you interpret the timing of this message from President Biden today? Is this a last-ditch effort before an imminent invasion?
On the crisis involving Russia.
Well, I hope there's not an invasion, but as you know, they have the capability of conducting it imminently. The message could also be interpreted as one of reaffirming any steps the Russians are taking to de-escalate the situation. If that is the case, we are offering them both an olive branch and saying that our quarrel is not with the Russian people, and yet issuing a stern warning that an invasion of Ukraine would be a huge strategic blunder with huge costs.
Huge costs for Putin personally, as well as for the Russian people. The president gave his updated estimate now of more than 150,000 Russian troops encircling Ukraine right now. We're seeing some of those troops, this video supplied by the Russian Defense Ministry. Is there any diplomatic concession that would allow Putin to save face and back down after a buildup of that size?
Potentially. And I think that the Europeans working with the Biden administration, which I think has done a very good job of assembling a diplomatic response, I think are exploring ways to address legitimate security concerns. But at the end of the day, we cannot give in to Putin's core demands about somehow controlling NATO membership or controlling Ukrainian sovereignty.
The British Foreign Secretary says she fears a Russian attack would, quote, would not stop at Ukraine. If Russia invades, how great is the threat to the rest of Europe, potentially to the stability of the world order and the NATO allies?
We have to be concerned. I think that the threat could be grave because we have to realize that Putin has always been very upset about the Baltic states as well as Poland and Romania being members of NATO. He's been rattling the saber toward those countries constantly. And of course, with regard to Georgia and Kazakhstan and Belarus and other countries like those, he will not tolerate any democratic movement. So we all know about how 85 years ago, when we conceded any part of Europe to an authoritarian or dictator, and we mistakenly believed that they would just stop with that one incursion, but we were wrong, and we can't be wrong again here.
The President Biden also says the United States is prepared to respond if Russia launches cyber attacks on critical infrastructure here at home. Just how much damage and chaos could Putin inflict with cyber attacks on the United States?
Well, we all know in 2015, Russia actually successfully launched cyber attacks against the energy infrastructure of Kyiv and shut down the power for maybe 250,000 residents there. And so we have to make it very clear to them now that any such attack on the United States would be met with huge costs again. And at the same time, we have to cooperate with state and local authorities, utilities, and private companies to guard against any such attacks on critical infrastructure or in the form of ransomware attacks by criminal gangs that are controlled by criminal cyber gangs that are controlled by the Russians.
Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.